Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsav Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. A Russian missile strike has devastated the Ukrainian city of Poltava. The deadly attack killed at least 51 people and injured more than 270. Two ballistic missiles targeted a military training facility and a hospital nearby. It was one of Russia's deadliest strikes since the war in Ukraine began in 2022. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered an investigation into the strike in Poltava. He has also vowed to hold what he called Russian scum accountable. Ukraine said that the incoming missiles came in so fast that they caught people who were in the middle of evacuating to bomb shelters. The Poltava strike has drawn widespread condemnation from Western leaders. US President Joe Biden called the attack deplorable. The British government called it a shameful act of aggression. Germany said that Russian President Vladimir Putin's brutality knows no limits. The Ukrainian government is undergoing a major shakeup. At least 6 ministers have resigned and a presidential aide has been fired. One of the people who resigned was Ukraine's arms chief, who oversaw weapons production. The country's deputy prime minister and the minister of justice have also stepped down. Meanwhile, Zelensky met with the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency yesterday. The meeting took place in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Zelensky discussed ways to strengthen the safety of Ukraine's nuclear plants. This meeting took place just days after renewed shelling near Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It's the largest nuclear plant in Europe. The International Nuclear Watchdog says that the situation at the Zaporizhzhia plant is very fragile. The United States has officially charged top Hamas leaders for their role in the October 7th attack in Israel. The attack had resulted in about 1,200 deaths, including those of over 40 Americans. Washington has charged 6 people, including Hamas's current leader Yahya Sinwar and former leader Ismail Haniyeh. The US alleges that these leaders orchestrated the October 7th attack with support from Iran. Former US President Donald Trump will plead not guilty to revised indictment charges. The case pertains to the 2020 US presidential elections, which Trump allegedly tried to overturn. The revised charges focus on Trump as a political candidate rather than a US president. The revisions have come after the US Supreme Court ruled that all ex-presidents enjoy a broad immunity from criminal prosecution. Reports say that North Korea's leader, Kim Jong Un, had 30 officials simultaneously executed last month. This was allegedly because the officials failed to prevent deadly floods and landslides. North Korea's Chagang province was hit by heavy rains and floods in July. At least 1,000 people died because of those floods. A report says that Nepal's central bank plans to print controversial new banknotes. The new notes will allegedly feature a revised map of Nepal, which includes Indian territories. The Indian areas of Kalapani, Lipulekh and Limpiadhura will be shown on the new Nepalese notes. The new notes are expected to be completed within 6 months to a year. After Brunei, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Singapore for a 2-day visit. He will be meeting with his Singaporean counterpart, Lawrence Wong. He will also participate in a roundtable with local business leaders. At least 12 people have died after their boat capsized while crossing the English Channel. Rescue workers managed to save 65 people in a search operation that lasted over 4 hours. The incident occurred in a section of the channel overseen by French authorities. Most of the people on board were reportedly migrants from Eritrea. Truck drivers blocked roads in Colombia's capital, Bogota. This was to protest against a diesel price hike. Diesel prices have been increased by 1,904 Colombian pesos per gallon, which comes to about $0.46. This has sparked anger among the truck drivers who view it as excessive. 81 public demonstrations took place all over Colombia yesterday, including 29 permanent blockades. In climate news, floods in Bangladesh have led to widespread destruction. The death toll has climbed to 71. About 580,000 people remain stranded in 11 flood-hit districts. This has led to the fear of waterborne disease outbreaks. Around 5,000 people were hospitalized over the last day due to diarrhea, skin infections, and snake bites. Meanwhile, heavy rains have led to at least 9 deaths in Pakistan's Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces. 11 districts in Balochistan have been declared calamity hit. Rescue and relief operations are underway. In the Philippines, at least 14 people have died due to tropical storm Yagi. Schools and government offices in the capital, Manila, are closed due to the adverse weather conditions. Storm warnings are in place in Manila and nearby provinces. A violent thunderstorm hit Italy's capital, Rome. Local authorities say that 60 millimeters of rain fell in central Rome in less than an hour. That's almost equal to the amount of rain that falls in a month during autumn. The ancient Roman Arch of Constantine was damaged due to lightning. The water level of Mornos Lake in Greece has been dropping. It is reaching its lowest level in decades. The lake's surface area has shrunk from 16.8 square kilometers in 2022 to about 12 square kilometers this year. The man-made lake supplies water to nearly half of the Greek population. The U.S. city of Phoenix in Arizona has been witnessing an unusual heat wave. The city completed 100 days of extreme heat, with temperatures soaring to over 37 degrees Celsius. Phoenix broke its previous record of 76 days, which was set in 1993. Local officials confirmed 150 heat-related deaths as of August 24th. A wildfire broke out in the Tahoe National Forest near the U.S. state of Nevada. So far, the raging fire has burnt over 800 hectares of land. Local authorities have ordered the evacuations of over 500 residents in the Sierra Brooks area. Efforts to control the blaze are still underway. A waste management company called Think Pink has been accused of illegally dumping waste in Sweden. The company reportedly dumped at least 200,000 tons of garbage. It has been described as the largest environmental crime in Sweden in terms of scope and organization. This case got taken up in court yesterday. 11 people are on trial for the illegal dumping of toxic waste. Prosecutors are demanding over $25 million in damages. On to business and tech news. Asian stocks declined after the overnight sell-off in the US stock market. Japan's Nikkei fell by over 3%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index dropped by as much as 1%. Wall Street indices like Nasdaq and S&P 500 dropped by up to 3% yesterday. This drop came as investors await a slew of US economic data due this week. It'll provide clues on the US Federal Reserve's interest rate decision later this month. The drop at Wall Street was led by the decline in the shares of tech giants. Stock prices of chipmaker Nvidia dropped 9.5% yesterday. This wiped out about $279 billion from its stock market valuation. Investors are worried about the firm's growth outlook for the next quarter. Last week, Nvidia's projected profit margin for the current quarter failed to impress investors. Meanwhile, stock prices of other big players like Microsoft, Alphabet, and Intel also declined. Reports say that the US Justice Department is getting a step closer to formally launching an antitrust case against Nvidia. The Justice Department has sent a list of questions to the chip maker and its customers. It wants to know if Nvidia forces firms to use only its graphic processors for artificial intelligence. If the allegations are true, it would amount to violations of US competition laws. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has fined 6 credit rating agencies. This includes Moody's Investors Service, S&P Global Ratings, and Fitch Ratings, among others. The rating agencies are being penalized for failing to preserve communication between the firms and its workers. Moody's and S&P have agreed to pay $20 million each, while Fitch will pay $8 million. Norway's sovereign wealth fund is reportedly planning to sell shares of companies that aid Israel's war in Gaza. This comes after the fund's Council on Ethics proposed new business standards for the companies it invests in. Norway's sovereign wealth fund has investments in over 8,800 companies worldwide. Firms like RTX Corp, General Electric, and General Dynamics are expected to be impacted by the fund's potential divestment. Hong Kong carrier Cathay Pacific Airways has found issues in 15 of its Airbus A350 jets. The airline says that the aircraft will need component replacements. This comes a day after Cathay Pacific Airways grounded all its A350 fleet. Earlier this week, one of the airline's A350 jets had to return an hour after takeoff. Reports say that a leak in the aircraft's fuel system caused a brief fire on the plane. India's petroleum giant, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, or ONGC, is reportedly planning to set up a refinery in the state of Uttar Pradesh. The government-owned firm is in talks with Bharat Petroleum Corporation to collaborate on this project. ONGC is expected to invest $8.3 billion in the oil refinery and petrochemical plant. American pharmacy retailer Rite Aid has emerged from bankruptcy. The pharmacy chain's owner used the process to close hundreds of stores. Its ownership has also been transferred to its creditors. Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy in October last year. At the time, the firm had about $750 million in losses on its balance sheet. It was also facing lawsuits alleging that its stores fueled the opioid crisis in the US. 2 U.S. consumer safety commissioners have called on authorities to launch a probe into foreign e-commerce platforms. These platforms include China's Shein and Temu. The commissioners have accused the platforms of selling products that are risky for consumers. They cited a media report published last month. The report said that Shein and Temu are selling baby products that have been banned by Congress. The U.S. Commerce Department has announced a $50 million subsidy for the personal computer maker HP. The subsidy will help the firm expand its facility in the U.S. state of Oregon. HP plans to modernize the plant to boost its semiconductor technologies. HP makes silicon devices that are crucial in drug discovery and single-cell research. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. Bangladesh have completed a clean sweep over Pakistan in a 2-match test series. The Tigers beat Pakistan by 6 wickets in the second test in Rawalpindi. Liton Das's 138 set the tone for Bangladesh in the first innings. Bangladesh's Hassan Mahmood picked up a 5-wicket haul to restrict Pakistan to 172 in the second innings. Pakistan have hit a historic low in Test cricket rankings after the shocking whitewash at home to Bangladesh. The 6-wicket defeat in Rawalpindi dropped Pakistan to the 8th spot in ICC Test rankings. This is Pakistan's lowest rating since 1965, marking a significant downturn in their cricketing history. In football, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins have withdrawn from England's Nations League squad. Foden missed out due to illness. Palmer and Watkins returned to their clubs for ongoing rehabilitation. All three were initially called up by interim England manager Lee Carsley. England will play against the Republic of Ireland on the 7th of September. They will host Finland at home at the Wembley Stadium 3 days later. Argentina's national team has urged fans to avoid discriminatory chants during the World Cup qualifier against Chile. If such chants occur, FIFA could sanction Argentina with reduced stadium capacity for future matches. The penalty would affect Argentina's next qualifier against Bolivia. In tennis, the American Frances Tiafoe has reached the US Open semi-finals. His opponent, Bulgaria's Grigor Dimitrov, retired injured while trailing 6-3, 6-7, 6-3, 4-1. Tiafoe will next face 12th seed American Fritz in an All-American semi-final. Women's world number 2, Aryna Sabalenka, has reached the US Open semi-finals for the 4th straight year. She defeated Qinwen Zheng 6-1, 6-2 in straight sets. Sabalenka will face the American Emma Navarro in the next round. Indian tennis star Rohan Bopanna's US Open campaign came to an end. He lost in the mixed doubles event. Bopanna was paired with Indonesia's Aldila Sugiardi. They lost 3-6, 4-6 to America's Donald Young and Taylor Townsend. Earlier, Bopanna was also eliminated from the men's doubles with his partner Matthew Ebden. India achieved its best ever Paralympics haul with over 20 medals. The country's track and field athletes played a key role, winning 5 medals on the 6th day. The final tally includes 3 golds, 8 silvers and 10 bronzes. India currently stand at the 17th place at the Paralympics. Britain's Sarah Storey extended her record as the most successful Paralympian of the country. Sarah clinched her 18th Paralympic gold after finishing first in the women's cycling events. Sarah has won 13 gold medals in cycling and 5 in swimming in her entire career. The 46-year-old is competing in her 9th Paralympics, having made her debut in 1992. Russia's Tatiana Tomashova received a 10-year ban for violating anti-doping regulations at the 2012 Olympics. She has been stripped of her silver medal from the women's 1,500-meter final. Tomashova is a 2-time world champion. She was also among the 7 Russian athletes banned in 2008 for sample manipulation. In entertainment news, the makers of the film The Apprentice released its teaser. The film is based on former US President Donald Trump's rise to power in the New York real estate industry. The movie was earlier screened at the Cannes Film Festival. It will release on the 11th of October. Lady Gaga will drop the first single from her new upcoming album in October. She teased the release date on Instagram by hiding the number. Her 7th studio album will release this year or early 2025. British singer-songwriter and pianist Sir Elton John is battling partial blindness. He revealed on social media that he got an eye infection which left him with limited vision in one eye. Sir Elton John is now healing, but it will take some time for his eyesight to return. South Korean actor Yoo In has been jailed for using drugs illegally. He was arrested in connection with the usage of the drug propofol. Yoo In has reportedly been handed a one-year jail term. The actor was accused of using drugs on 181 occasions between 2020 and 2022. Australian model and actor Elle Macpherson revealed that in an interview that she battled breast cancer. She received the diagnosis 7 years ago and is now in clinical remission. The actor refused to take chemotherapy and rather opted for a holistic approach for her cancer treatment. The makers of The Perfect Couple released its trailer. The series has Nicole Kidman and Liev Schreiber in the lead roles. The trailer shows how a chilling murder mystery ruins the wedding plans of the show's Perfect Couple. The limited series will premiere on the 5th of November. Meanwhile, the makers of A Night Bitch released the horror comedy film's first trailer. The film, starring Amy Adams, is based on a 2021 novel. The story is of a stay-at-home mother who believes that she is turning into a canine. At the ongoing Venice Film Festival, Luca Guadagnino's Queer earned an 11-minute 44-second standing ovation. Daniel Craig plays the role of a drug-addicted gay American in the film. He says that he's not worried about hitting the headlines with the film's explicit scenes. Beetlejuice director Tim Burton has received the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. He said it was an emotional moment to see his name on the star. The star is placed in front of a toy store which he visited regularly during his childhood. Over 2,000 items from Game of Thrones will go under the hammer in October. From costumes to props, set pieces to memorabilia, fans will be spoilt for choice. The bids will range from $500 to $20,000. The collection right now is open for preliminary bidding. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to First Post.
Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. Our top focus comes in from the war in West Asia. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu apologized for not rescuing the 6 hostages that were found dead in Gaza.